News First, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
And a wonderful morning to you. This is Newsline, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Clambo. We're in R2, the studio here, up on the third floor. And this morning, it's a lovely day, completely different from last morning, where it was rain, and more rain, more reminiscent of those cold climes of the United Kingdom. But here we are, we're back again to paradisian weather. And this morning, we've got that straight-talking legal, if I may call him that, Gomin Dayasri, who's here to discuss some of the more pressing legal matters. We call them legal matters. And so, very good morning to you, Mr. Gomin Dayasri.
Morning.
Lovely, as always, to see you.
Nice to see you. You look like part of the Purple Brigade today.
Oh, the Purple Brigade. Thank you very much. Thank you. But I've got my Maharaja tie on. Now then, Mr. Gomin Dayasri, the CID reveals in court Indian alleges plot to kill President Sirisena and the Rajapaksa family. They'll have a tough time doing that. There got loads of people in that family. But what is all this?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many people place any credibility in these stories, but it sounds so bizarre. I mean, the point is you got both sides being eliminated, and who is the beneficiary? It can't be the UNP, because UNP is will be certainly accused of crimes. I really think it is a weird plot that is once again bringing a non-national outlook by bringing in a foreigner into the game. Makes it still weird, more weird.
Is this, but have you noticed, but every so often, with increasing regularity, we seem to have a big ticket item in which everyone's focus is on that big ticket item, and the focus on the main issues, which is the disastrous state of the economy, is quietly forgotten.
I suppose so, because I don't think people take these stories very seriously
These
nowadays.
Are, what do they call them in English? Red herrings.
Red herrings, I see.
Are these red herrings, you think?
I don't know really, but I don't think it. We have seen so many of these in recent times, associated with the growing crime rate. So this is nothing unusual for the people. I mean, I don't take it seriously. They just, as you can see, it's not headline news. It's always second or third item in the news.
Yeah, but some our colleagues in the island have made it headline news.
Well, that's a strange feature. Maybe they're short of
and
news.
And then we've had the former commander, now Field Marshal, who was at the CID to make a 4-hour statement on the abduction of our colleague, Keith Noyer.
Well, that's a serious matter. Keith Noyer and the other gentleman who were removed, and they have still not been located. At least Pragit has not been located.
That's
so
right.
There is a lot of suspicion, and I mean, these things have to be solved. I don't know why we are taking so long over these things, but people can get bored.
Is there a bit of political sort of
it seems to be, because with so much of overwhelming evidence in this and other inquiries, nothing is being done. I mean, you are probing all the time, and occasionally you break into news and then you go quiet. You just go silent, and it's an eerie kind of silence that is followed.
It is pretty eerie. But what is also eerie is let's go with the current items, shall we? Is what is also eerie is the reaction of the cricket administration in asking Angelo Matthews to step down from the captaincy.
I think there's an important question there. I watched cricket in the Middle East, and I must say that they should never have had a 50-over tournament. Like in the previous years, they should have limited it to 20. Because in that heat, I don't think anybody can play sensible cricket or give mind to cricket. Because it's so hot. I mean, I can remember many people washing their face right through the contest from the spectator stands. So it must have been so much hot. But I don't think we can give that as an excuse. Our cricketers are aged. I mean, Matthews, for example, he should gracefully retire like the private politicians, but he's hanging on. Some say it's a desire for money. I don't know what it is. We must always remember that Matthews is a very key cricketer, played a pivotal role in making us win many trophies. We must honour him. But sadly, he stayed too long. I mean, he doesn't look fit. He can't bend down, I'll tell you that. And Lasith Malinga is too fat. And also, I think Upul Taranga, they are too old. This is a young man's game, 20-over cricket, and that's what we should be looking at.
Goodness me.
And that's the same as in politics.
Gomin Dayasri, you've just called Lasith Malinga fat. And you've said that Angelo Matthews can't bend. But to me, it looks like Angelo Matthews is being made the scapegoat because he's the captain, he's the leader of the pack. But then, if you apply that same rule, Ranil, dear Ranil, should be history.
It is, but he doesn't consider himself, he's a serial player, so that he continues under any circumstances.
He's a serial abuser of the democratic process, and he is the master when it comes to departures of due process. But one of our viewers, and please do send your questions in and or your observations, 0772 300 305, card coming up on your screen. SMS only please, 0772 300 305. We're in conversation with Gomin Dayasri. One of our viewers is obviously up and very much on the ball. And this viewer says, Rajiv Gandhi was eliminated by outsiders. Premadasa and Lalit leaves a question mark. Babu was an Indian. And as for cricket, Pfizer doesn't know cricket or any sport.
That last remark is indeed hilarious, but there is some
What about that first bit?
First bit is, I think, once
Indian.
again, Indian.
Do we see the hand of India?
I see the hand of India in destabilizing our cricketers by bringing the ICC tournament.
No, I don't mean that. I mean the first part of it. Rajiv Gandhi was eliminated by outsiders. Premadasa and Lalita would leave a question mark. And Babu was an Indian.
Yes, but we must remember that they had an interest. For example, Rajiv Gandhi has created such a lot of havoc both in the south and in the north of Sri Lanka that he entertained many enemies.
Do you think this is all a part of a raw deal? I
doubt whether it's raw. Whatever. Raw is always very active. I remember during the first election between Fonseca and the Sri Lankan government, Rajapaksa, many thought that the raw got it right while the Indian High Commission got it all wrong.
Right.
And they thought that Fonseca was going to win while the raw got it right by saying Rajapaksa is going to win. And I remember end of it, raw gave a very, very good treat to all those who had helped them in their mind, and that was the intelligence officers of Sri Lanka, because they gave them a party. And I remember I was invited by the Sri Lankan authorities, not by the Indian authorities, because they didn't have enough people to speak good English, they felt. And they told me, you better come along, sir, because our boys can speak well there, but they can speak well in Sinhala, but not in English. And not that I can speak very good English, but I had to tag along for that.
I think our viewers will agree that you speak reasonably good English, Mr. Dayasri.
Yes,
now then, another viewer. Matthew should have remained not as a captain, but as a player.
I doubt, because a player must be in this kind of cricket, which especially 50 over 20 overs, you must be very competitive, very fit. Now Matthews is certainly maybe test cricket, but even that is 5 days is too long for him, because he sits in first slip all the time. You must be flexible as to be moved around for a captain if you're not having a slip fielder.
In between all this, we've just had President Sirisena, who said at the UN that as an independent country, we don't need foreign powers to exert pressure.
Well, we can't say that, because we are always seeking foreign assistance by way of finances. So those who lend to us have an equal right to intervene in our affairs. If we could have stayed outside that perimeter, well, we could have exercised greater degree of independence. But we, a nation of diggers of gold from other countries, should be mindful that once they give the money, they have certain rights over us, and we get bound by it. And it's sad.
And this viewer says, Raw and India should mind their own business. and not interfere with neighbors?
I think he's perfectly right, especially Raw being an outfit. They interfere in many things in Sri Lanka. They have their hold in Sri Lanka. They have their agents everywhere, including in the media. So I'm sad to say that Raw should be kept out, but the Sri Lankan politicians are not strong enough to keep Raw out. But may I just dwell on another subject? That is with regard to the oncoming presidential elections.
That's right.
We say it's 2020, but it could be 2019. And remember, the opposition has two candidates whom they think can easily trounce the UNP. I agree. The opposition is much stronger today with the people than with the government.
Who is the opposition?
The opposition candidates are both disqualified. I think President Rajapaksa cannot certainly run for third time for presidency, and Gotabaya is disqualified on his citizenship. Now, I don't know Gotabaya, who is a better candidate.
Is this all we've got, the Rajapaksas, nobody else?
No, there should be other people, because UNP has 4 candidates. They got Premadasa, they got young Premadasa, and Karuja Surya also in the field.
Oh no, so, but he is antiquated. He's past his sell-by date.
You may think so, but maybe somebody who's antiquated.
Why have we got this penchant for, forgive it, but to have older leaders? Why not the younger person?
I think younger people will be very good, but at least we need a new person. And within the parties, there are no new people. In the Rajapaksas, we have all Rajapaksas and Namal Rajapaksa, who is...
They're both suffering from the same disease, the UNP and the other side, because neither of them can get their act together and get a clear leader.
And they can't even find a field. The opposition can't even field a leader if it's 4 years. I mean, president after 4 years can hold elections at any time. Now, he's certainly going to make use of it and disqualify Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who's still not making any efforts to get his citizenship out of the way. So with that problem, he will face it. I think there's an element of fear. He fears that American citizenship helps him. I think it doesn't help him. It puts him further down the line. So I think he should do that, but he's not doing it.
I've got a suggestion. How about the Auditor General?
As a candidate?
Yeah.
Well, is he prepared to take the plunge? I doubt.
Well, why not? He's working for less than what his salary should be. Why not?
But I don't know whether anyone wants political office without a political party to back him. Because today it's not a one-man street or corner. It's got a lot of people have to be involved to help the president.
But there's one thing the Auditor General will be able to do should he become president. He will be able to balance the books. Something that our fashion designer turned finance minister is unable to do.
I think he can do very much better than most finance ministers in recent times, because he has been keeping abreast with things. He's been a fearless man. I support him instead of, I mean, somebody might say the election commissioner, what about him? Or the chairman of the Constitutional Council or somebody like that. No, they are all out.
There are no young leaders. The reason there are no young leaders is that the old leaders weed out the capable ones.
No, they don't do that. They keep it to their family. The old leaders want their family. Thank God Ranil Wickremesinghe has no family. Otherwise, he himself would have been grooming a candidate. But the Rajapaksas have their own people, and they are trying to... I mean, it's Rajapaksas cannot think beyond Rajapaksas. That's
and the flip side to all of this about old and young is coming from another viewer. Mahathir Mohamad is 93, and he seems to be getting rid of corruption.
Who is that?
Dr. Mahathir Mohamad from Malaysia.
Yes, but he's back.
The world's oldest leader at 93.
And back in the saddle for a short time.
93, for heaven's sake.
And he's got re-elected by the people.
Yeah.
So that means that people will re-elect anybody, provided that it's not Ranil Wickremesinghe, Sirisena, Mahinda Rajapaksa. But Gotabaya Rajapaksa is a newcomer, but I don't think he's doing the right thing. He's got the wrong people.
But he doesn't seem to have politics in his DNA. Well, he's got politics in the DNA, but he doesn't. Politics.
I think you're on the right street there, because Gotabaya Rajapaksa has got some of the worst elements in the SLFP as his advisors. I've been complaining about it on airways, but he doesn't seem to be able to get rid of them. He doesn't seem to be a strong leader, as he was a military man. So I think military men and politics, we saw it in the case of Sarat Fonseca, and they don't bind well together. So we may have to look elsewhere, but there is no possibility because no young people want to get involved in politics because they know it's a very difficult task to reach the top.
But evidently very rewarding.
Very rewarding, even for the young people today in Parliament. It's very rewarding. They are making a lot of headway in various ways, various illegal ways also.
Yes, I was minded to talk about the illegal ways. Because there's a serious departure from due process.
Undoubtedly.
And nobody cares.
And you see, it's the politicians are putting their children or their relations or their friends to the forefront into the provincial councils and to the Pradeshia Sabhas, so that the second rung is today also equally politicized with the same kind of ailment that the
But with age should come maturity. But and in integrity should be well and truly settled in and mature. But RW is closer to the 70s.
Yes, but
there's still questions about his integrity.
I mean, there are no questions. There are total doubts that seem to have been established very much after the bond scam, because he didn't come out well in that at all, and that was his mainstay.
I do wish Andrew Kumar Disanak would make his mind up and just blurt it all out. He keeps saying that he will expose Ranil's involvement in the bond scam, but he doesn't do anything about it.
But you know, I'm very sad. JVP had leaders who could have come to some position because of their cleanliness, but they unfortunately got themselves associated with the 20th Amendment, which got shot down. Now they are saying they are facing a referendum. They'll get it shot down again because people are not going to vote for that kind of stupid thing, because some of them want the centre strengthened, not centre weakened. The JVP has their own targets, they have their own, and now just because they are unable to do it in English, they got some NGO guys into the field.
Somebody's texting me and saying, how about go BIM or go bin? I think they're trying to type so fast that what they clearly mean is Gomin. How about you?
For what? My God. No, not me.
Why not?
Why not? Because
it would be rather fun.
It will be fun, but it won't be fun for me, my dear. Because simply, I can remember...
Can you disclose your age?
Yes, I can. I'm 74.
Well,
sorry, I'm 72.
There you are. You're even younger than that.
So my problem is that I remember Mrs. Bandaranayak offered me appointed MP. I refused it and gave it to S.L. Gunasekara because I'm no politician. I'm a hopeless politician, and I will be quarreling with politicians most of the time. So I think I should be completely debarred.
One of our viewers says, indeed Gomin, well done, a fearless speaker. Is being a fearless speaker alone enough?
No, that's not enough. You must be young also. I think I'm too old to begin with, and people like me should gracefully retire. I retired from practice at the age of 60, but I still hold one or two briefs because my opponents keep on postponing cases. And that is the reason why I stay. But I only will come for national case masters, even as a lawyer, because you must know to gracefully bow out, because there comes a time...
We've got 10 minutes left. I want to say this to you. I want to ask you.
Yes.
This is a question, actually, that my colleague Bandara Jayasekara posed on Pathigara. What is the point of having a police commission, independent police commission, when the IGP is not listening to the police commission?
I think right from the beginning these commissions were only another unnecessary expenditure, because it's been highly politicized. Even the Constitution Council, I'm told, cannot function. And strangely, the other day I went yesterday to Tax Commission. The Tax Appeal Commission, they have not appointed people, so tax dodgers can keep on avoiding tax because there's nobody to appeal to. And the Tax Commission is simply saying that they cannot do anything because the commissioner who has been appointed has now retired because his period is over. A very honourable man, former Supreme Court Judge H.S. Japa had been appointed. Now his appointment is gone off because he's exhausted his period, and they're not making any new appointments. And what is worse, I'll tell you something. Amazingly, that particular act helps the Inland Revenue Department to be more corrupt, because that is the only piece of legislation I've seen so far where they can give order without giving reasons. You have to give reasons only later when they appeal. So what is the whole purpose? People will put on various stipulations on the public to pay. They will influence them, they will torture them, they will harass them, and they have not got to say anything but just impose the penalty. Now, that is after inquiry, mind you. When you got to give reasons, you don't divide it into reasons, because that means your decision is made without reasons. If no reasons can be given later, 1 month later after you appeal, then that means you are just mechanically saying, give them this amount should be paid, without thinking further and thinking clearly and thinking reasonably, because without reasons any order is bad in law. And I intend taking it up, but I can't take it up because there is no commission.
Say the last bit again. Because any decision
without reason is a bad decision, is a decision without any thought process into the decision, because you can peacefully say you pay this much without any reason, because you don't have to give reasons at all. And that is, I mean, imagine an act providing that this is a statute passed by the Sri Lankan parliament, where parliamentarians have probably not seen it.
Can one person do both, media, finance and Gamperlia?
Yes, if you are efficient, you can not do 3 topics, you can do much more.
But honestly, you need somebody like Ranasinghe Premadasa for that.
Yes, I mean, he did it, and I think very many more people in Sri Lanka are capable, because Sri Lankans are capable people, they are competent.
But with all the capability and with all the opportunity, some people, as you say, some people, where is the some people?
Some people don't surface. That is the trouble. They have no forum to surface. They have no opportunity for us, and they don't want to come into a lot of rubbish and shit where they have to walk around in that kind of circles. Today politics is so ugly and so dirty that honest, sincere young youth don't want to get involved. They rather do something which is, because there's so much opportunity available today in the world, with the world getting so internationalized. They rather do something else rather than getting involved with politicians. This is the trouble. We have to remove not only the upper layer and the lower layer, but the entire political system should be revised. And for that, I don't think we should have a dictator, because a dictator will rather impose himself. We should have a benevolent political leader, and that leadership we can see emerge in several countries. India, we have Modi.
Excepting at the United National Party.
Yes, but in Sri Lanka also, I would say further, because I can see it emerging in the Philippines, it's there in France, it's there in several European countries, it's there in Indonesia.
But we have a Prime Minister who's got all the opportunities, but it's all his actions are shambles.
No,
we've got a Prime Minister who is, shall we say, has a tendency to be economical with the truth.
That his problem is, now look at the question, dollar is rising, it may rise to 175 and it sadly stops rising. But till then, what is he doing? He said, we'll wait 2 months doing nothing. Now, can you wait without doing nothing? I think that is the weakest answer that a person can give, to do nothing and watch the situation. Now, he's watching all the time, he's watching, but he's not doing anything.
Watching? Is he watching the members of his club?
No, I don't think he's watching any member of his club. I think he's just watching he's looking at the sky and waiting, doing nothing at all. I mean, he thinks everything will fall into place. No, it won't. And he doesn't realize that his time...
Is he fiddling?
He must have. There is suspicion on that bond scam. I think you rightly exposed him more than anyone else. So you should be able to know more. But I'm also really sad that in that exposure, there were people who were involved in the... Now, I think one of the gentlemen I find is now a SLFP municipal councillor who was very involved in this exposure by your media. But I think those are incorrect. A person who is independent should always be independent. He says
always remain independent.
But I think he's not independent, because he's now MMC of the SLFP. And before long, you'll find him wanting to be a junior minister and then a minister. So,
goodness me.
So you don't know what you are. And then another gentleman who was there was a part of the outfit, I'm told, in Ranil Wickremesinghe's committee. He was the advisor to the committee. So how can you possibly... I mean, you do a grand job of exposure, but in your team, are you having absolutely independent people, Faraz? I mean, you have done a great thing. I mean, you as a journalist, media person has done it. But how many are assisting you genuinely and sincerely? Have they got way? I mean, remember, people like me who come to TV, you must see that I don't enter politics, because if I enter politics, I'm doing it I'm doing all this talking by virtue of wanting to be a candidate. I can well see the number of candidates who are now trying to be in the forefront in the presidential contest. Many of them have been seeking publicity in various forums purely to gain some stature for themselves. I'm sad to say that.
Finally, in the last 2 minutes, shall we touch on the Maldivian result?
It's a result against all kinds of anti-democratic acts by the present government, and I think you got another man appointed, a rank outsider, a weak character they say, but I don't know whether he can bring Maldives back to its glory, because with his kind of weaknesses that are well known, I don't know whether he'll be effective. I mean, I think you need an effective president, whoever it is, and that is why we don't give opportunities for the young to come out. We must give young. Now, I, in my own way, has brought out a lot of young people in the legal profession. I help them financially by giving them work and not taking work myself. Unless you do that, unless you give a hand to the young have no reason to
opportunities.
You must give opportunities, and today the opportunities are there only for the family members, the Namals.
But isn't it marvelous, Gomin Dayasri, that democracy has a way of never being kept down, as evidenced by the events in Malaysia, as evidenced by the events in the Maldives.
Events right around Sri Lanka are turning good, but in Sri Lanka I think things are no good at all, because we have a very aged leadership coming forth next time in 2018, 2019
and
or 2020.
Mr. Gomin Dayasri, we had the nerve, we had the courage to have as our chief guest at our Executive of the Year ceremony the former President of the Maldives, Mohammed Nasheed. And we had the courage and we were fearless in reporting his message, his concern about growing Chinese colonization, his concern about China extracting their pound of flesh in exchange for the debts, for the loans that they give it, and they bribe leaders all over the place, and then get a foothold in there. And Mohammed Nasheed has become a well-known figure now in this bringing into light, highlighting, focusing on global Chinese de facto colonization.
I think it's not only Chinese, it's Indian, Chinese, Russian, and the American. I think all these people, when they give us money, when they assist us, they have another agenda which we are unconscious of, or which our politicians don't care two hoots, because they are there to benefit from any kind of deal. So that is what is happening, and we should be very careful. I think public have a duty to be vigilant as much as possible. And next time, for us, can I have a program where I can interview you?
That's something we'll have to put to the editorial team and find out.
Please.
But Gomin Dayasri, we shall end by reminding our viewers that it is this channel who gave Mohammed Nasheed a platform to express his voice.
And this is the media.
And we had the courage to report it and carry it.
And you had the outfit to expose the bond scam, which I think is the biggest scam of this country in this century. And you did it for us. I'm proud of you.
Team News First. Hail Team News First. Hail Gomin Dayasri.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you, Gomin. And that's the way it was on Newsline on this wonderful day. Keep smiling. We do live on this wonderful, wonderful island, Sri Lanka. One nation, one country. Take care. God bless.
News. Faraz Shauketaly.
One nation, one country, one people.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.